Hi, I'm James Briscione, and I've just teamed up with the editors of Cooking Light for a new cookbook, The Great Cook. And today I'm going to show you one of my favorite recipes from the book, a lightened up mac and cheese. It's a really simple recipe, it's an easy thing to make at home. We all love mac and cheese, but it's usually got a lot of butter and a lot of cream in it, which means high calories and high fat. So we're going to use some classic technique here to take all of that butter and fat out of the recipe, still give you a delicious, creamy, cheesy mac and cheese. It's got about 30% less calories and 70% less fat. So it starts off the same way a classic mac and cheese would, making a bechamel, but we're going to use classic French technique called a bouillie, which really is just means we're going to make a roux without any butter. We put some flour into the pan, and then we're just going to whisk in the milk. So we've got 1.5 ounces of flour and 2 2/3 cup of milk. You want to whisk that up. If you add all of the milk at once, you're going to end up with lots of lumps. It's not going to be smooth, it's not going to thicken the way we really want it to. And once that starts to thicken, then we can start whisking in the remainder. You want to keep whisking here as you're adding the milk, and then it's really going to go pretty quickly. And we just want to get this up to a simmer. All right, we don't need to cook this nearly, because we don't have the butter in the roux. We don't need to cook it nearly as long as you would normally. This is going to go pretty quick, and once you've got about half your milk in there, feel free to just dump in the rest. I can turn my heat up a little bit. I want to see this just start to bubble. Bring it right up to a simmer. Once your flour's incorporated, you don't have to stir constantly. You can leave that for a minute and just wait for that to come to a simmer. So we're looking for just those bubbles to start to form. You know, if this comes all the way to a boil, that's fine. You're going to see the milk really start to thicken once it comes up to temperature. If it boils, you're not going to hurt anything, but we only need to reach a simmer. So you can see now our milk's gotten really nice and thick, and that's it. So now we're going to turn off the heat and start whisking in the cheeses. Okay, we're doing 4 different types of cheese, starting off with a bit of fontina. And we're just going to whisk these one at a time, make sure that cheese melts in all the way. We don't want to overload it and make our milk too cold so the cheese doesn't melt. The fontina is going to give you that really nice creamy texture. And then we're going to come in next with some sharp cheddar cheese, give you that classic mac and cheese flavor. All the cheeses grated or cubed up beforehand. You don't want big chunks of cheese in here. They're going to be very hard to melt into the sauce. And then we've got lots of Parmesan cheese here. This is finely grated. That's going to give you that wonderful nutty flavor. And Parmesan is a lower fat cheese as well, so it's giving us lots of cheesiness without adding too much fat. And then finally, we've got a light American cheese that we're going to add to it, and this is kind of the secret here. It allows us to get a creamy mac and cheese that's not going to separate or get greasy, and without adding any cream. You've really reduced fat and calories, and you still get that beautiful creamy mac and cheese that we all love. So we've got 4 different cheeses in here, which give us tons of flavor in here. If we were using just one, especially like the light American cheese, it's not going to be quite as flavorful. So that fontina, that cheddar, that Parmesan brings us so much flavor, and the American cheese really just gives us that creamy consistency. So I'm going to keep whisking this for a minute to get all of those cheeses melted. We're off of the heat now, and we want to be careful with the temperature, because if this gets too hot, then we're going to start to separate those cheeses. The milk can over thicken, and then that's when it starts to get kind of greasy and ugly, right? So this keeps a really pretty, creamy, beautiful texture. All right, so we've got this beautiful, silky, cheesy sauce now ready to go. We're going to add in the pasta, right? And the trick here is you don't rinse your pasta. All right, you're going to see some of that water goes in along with it. That makes sure that as this bakes, the sauce won't get too thick. Right? And this is my favorite part of all of these recipes in our book. You're not missing anything, right? If you're going to give me a low-fat, no-fat mac and cheese, I'm not interested. Still want all of that great mac and cheese flavor, but if you can show me a way to lighten it up and we can get all the flavor without all of that fat, and that means I can have 2 portions now, I'm going to be a very happy man. Mac and cheese, we're going to turn this out into our pan. Just amazing. So there we are, beautiful, right? Mac and cheese in the pan. Now to finish it off, we've got a little bit of toasted breadcrumbs here. This is actually crackers, Melba toast, or just some toasted up bread. You want something nice and crunchy. I added a little bit of garlic to that, and then we're going to stir in just a little bit of oil just to help those brown up beautifully. That fresh garlic's going to give a nice bright note. And then we're just gonna spread these breadcrumbs, that great crunchy topping that every mac and cheese loves. This is the part we fight over at home. Who gets more of that crunchy topping? Me and my wife, and my daughter now is into the game too, fighting over that beautiful crunchy top. So there it is. All right, so now let's get this into the oven here. I got my big heavy duty ovens. We're gonna slide it right in. So that's going in the oven at 375 degrees, and for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, you just wanna see that golden brown crispy top. As soon as that happens, pull it out and we're ready to eat. So it's been 30 minutes. Let's check in the oven and see what's happening here. Oh man, this looks great. We've got a beautiful golden brown top. It's bubbly, it smells absolutely amazing. I love that crispy topping. Boy, it's hot though. Let's get in here. So good, so cheesy. You give me a bowl of that, don't tell me that you've done anything to take out all the fat and calories. I would never know the difference. You guys gotta try this recipe. Check out all the recipes in the book. They're amazing. I hope you like them as much as I do.